Greetings, metaphysicians. This is episode 103, How to Cleanse Your Body. Yes, your body is your temple. This you've heard before, but it's true. Your body is the current temple for your soul. It won't be the last temple, and it probably wasn't the first temple, but this is what you've got in this lifetime. So listen in, and let's talk about how to cleanse your body. Enjoy.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci, here to remind you that you are a divine spiritual being having a temporary human experience here on lovely planet Earth, and to make the most of it. This is Season 7, Heaven on Earth, and this is episode 103, How to Cleanse Your Body. And it occurred to me a little while ago that part of heaven on earth is being clear and living the most fulfilling, expansive, blissful, happy experience that you possibly can in this temporary vehicle, your body. And not only that, this is going to be a little mini series on how to cleanse not only your body, how to cleanse your mind, and how to cleanse your spirit. This episode is all about how to cleanse your body. We're going to start from the physical and move our way out to the spiritual. And I'm going to make it as simple as possible for each episode. This episode, as I said, we're talking about the body, and the simplest explanation for that is bad out, good in. And that is how it's going to flow for the next few episodes. Every one of these cleansing episodes is also going to be accompanied by bonus content of a clearing done by me and the angels to specifically help you with the issue at hand. So for this episode, it will be a clearing on anything we are allowed to do so that you can cleanse your body with ease and grace, whether that is clearing blockages you may have to having a clean, clear body, or any other things that are ready to come up that you don't need anymore that are preventing you from doing that. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Are you ready? Let's get meta. Masters and angels, I request your presence, your guidance, your support throughout this episode today. We are talking about cleansing the body. Please bring into the conversation anything that would be useful, helpful for myself and all of our listeners to give us clues and guidance as to how to best cleanse the physical body. Please help me to know the truth, speak the truth, be the truth, and become the truth. Please help this episode reach whoever needs to hear it, and help everyone move forward to having a clear, clean, physical body. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. Bless creation. So we're talking about cleansing the body, and there are all of the traditional things that you might think of to cleanse the body, and we will get to those. I am going to start each of these episodes with how to cleanse the bad out. And yes, forgive me for being black and white with these. There are going to be things I refer to as bad or negative, and good or positive, or low vibration, high vibration, because we are in physical bodies and we are on a 3D planet for the moment, and on some level on this dimension there is black and white, and there is right and wrong, and there is good and bad. And when we're talking about cleansing the body, it's really not so tough. But I want to start with cleansing the toxins out of your body. So bad out. And some of you may know some of these tools, and some of you may have never heard of them before. So first things first, we want to cleanse the toxins. We want the bad out. So if you are in your physical body now and just tuning in, you might be able to intuitively know that you have toxins, as we all do, from things that we ingest and things that we have ingested over time. Maybe it is food. Maybe you don't have great eating habits. Maybe it is toxins from medication, from vaccinations, from birth control pills, from any kind of supplement or medication or prescription that you may have had, any kind of beverages that you may imbibe, be it too much alcohol or too much sugar or drugs or plant medicine. All of these things leave residue, and not all of those things are good for you. Not all that residue is good for you, and a lot of it is toxic. And what happens to that? Some of it comes out of the body. Some of it goes through your system and you eliminate it. And much of it is not eliminated. Much of it remains in your gut, particularly, and much of it remains in your tissues. Lots of toxins in our tissues. Now, I want to preemptively say I am not a doctor. I am not even a dietitian or an Ayurvedic Vaidya or anything like this. I am going to be, as I always do, offering my suggestions given my own experiences. So take them or leave them as usual. Use your own discernment and judgment, but these are some things that I have recognized throughout my journey on this planet, being in this physical body that I reside in, this vehicle for this lifetime. So, bad out. There's a few different tools that I use to cleanse toxins from my body. One of them is foot baths. You may have heard these before. I use an ionic foot bath. Now, there are different brands, and I'll leave it to you to do your own research, but I have found these incredibly useful in detoxifying my body. And so you can use these as much as you want. Sometimes, if I feel like I need them, I use them daily, weekly, depending on how my body is feeling. And you may notice feeling better or more energy after the first time you use them. And they're an investment, but this is one way that you can clear toxins from your body. And what is this exactly? There's a device and you plug it in, and it involves putting your feet in water, and then toxins come out through your feet, and you can tell that because the water will change colors, and they even give you a guide showing you what color the water is for you and what that means, what toxins are coming out of your body. So you could have water turning green, and that would mean one thing, or you could have water turning red, and that would mean that you're cleansing a different thing. You could have water turning black, and I believe black means heavy metals. Some of us are in a heavy metal environment, etc. So ionic foot baths are one way to cleanse toxins. Another thing I really enjoy are detox baths. And many of you have done this or heard of this. Sweating in general is a great way to get toxins out of your body. You can do this in any of the normal ways that would cause you to sweat. Exercise obviously is really good for the body. We all know that. I'm not going to dive into exercise. I think that anyone who is listening to this episode can figure out what kind of good exercise routine would be good for your own physical body. But sweating is an excellent way. So a few different ways of sweating besides exercise. One would be saunas. Another would be baths. And so we're talking about the salt baths. You get the bath as hot as you can without hurting yourself, and have a mixture of Epsom salts, sea salts, and baking powder or baking soda. whichever. And I like to use 1 pound of baking powder, 1 pound of Epsom salt, and 2 pounds of sea salt. And I can usually only last about 20 minutes. Usually I'll play a process while I'm having a bath, something like this. But you really do sweat while you're in there. And that mixture that I just discussed, I have found in being useful to taking out more toxins from your body through your skin tissues. So we have an ionic foot bath, we have salt baths. Another way to sweat, of course, is through saunas. Whenever I can, I do like to sauna. I would say traditional sauna with wood, but I also have enjoyed infrared saunas lately, and you might too. If you don't have an infrared sauna, as most people don't, they're becoming more and more common in care spaces and holistic health spaces. You might find in your place that you live, in your town or city, that there are places that have infrared saunas that you can go in for half an hour, whatever, 20 minutes might be good for you. And I have made this part of my routine in one of the places I live that has such a place. Maybe someday I'll have my own infrared sauna, but that is not the case at this exact moment. But these are all different ways of cleansing toxins from inside your body to out, which is bad out. The bad is going out. So another way that I have recently experienced is called a Panchakarma. Panchakarma, also known as a PK, is an Ayurvedic health and healing cleansing method, which involves doing a pre-cleanse before you do your PK of 5 days of a specific type of diet, followed by, which just gets your body ready and starts eliminating toxins from your digestive system. Very important. And followed by several different types of treatments, Ayurvedic treatments, such as Shirodharas and Bastis. There's all these different kinds of treatments that I urge you to do your own research on. But if you look up Panchakarma or Panchakarma cleanse or treatment, you will be able to read more about this. Because again, I am not an expert. I recently did this for the first time, and I highly recommend it if you can find a reputable place to do this through. I did it for 7 days. A lot of people do it for much longer, and a lot of people want to just dip their toes in and do a 3-day PK, something like this. What I found it particularly good at is clearing out the digestive system. In fact, the 5-day pre-cleanse was really useful in that. One of the treatments that happens throughout the PK, and it's supposed to change, it's supposed to alter every day depending on what the Vaidya or the Ayurvedic doctor or Ayurvedic practitioner who you should be in the care of reads your tongue, reads your pulse, and can identify which treatments will be the most useful and beneficial for you on that day. So you want to make sure that you find somebody and find a center that is reputable and somebody that you feel good with, and they will know what your system, what your bodies need based on the balances of your different energies in your body. Different doshas is the name for that in Ayurveda. So for me, that included several treatments over the course of 7 days. One of those treatments is called a Basti, which is a type of enema. And these can be oil, these can be water, but this is all about cleansing your digestive system again. So you can do that through eating and ingesting things, and you can also do that through things like enemas. And those are really specific, good ways of cleansing your body. Of course, there are many other things. These are the things that I personally have experience with, and everyone's results and feelings are going to be different. I keep a fairly clean diet. I've been detoxifying my body in these ways for several years now. So when I did my Panchakarma, I didn't feel the extreme changes or shifts that many people do when they do a treatment like this. Many people lose a lot of weight quickly because they're letting go of toxins and things that were preventing them from digesting properly, etc. I didn't have that experience with my Panchakarma. I didn't have as much in this case, in this physical case, to cleanse this time. So your experience may be different. And I've heard from several people that have had PKs that they had a much more intense time, a much more a much more noticeable cleanse than I did in this particular case. But I do stand by it and being a really nice way to reset your system. So you can look into that. Other things I wanted to talk about for the cleansing of the physical body are things that are good. You want to take the bad out, you want to put the good in. So good in would mean good food, good air, good water, anything that you are ingesting in some way that your physical body is processing needs to be high quality, high vibration, alive, right? So things like canned food and water that is very processed and has lots of chemicals in it, these things are, for all intents and purposes, dead. So you want to eat as many things that are alive, like plants or things that had some kind of energy to them recently before you ingest them. I like a lot of vegetables. I like a lot of fruits, things that were growing at some point. Many of you eat meat. I don't, but that still, if it is fresh, is something that was recently alive, and that is great. And the same goes for water. It is something that we all need to drink more of. Most of us are dehydrated most of the time and don't drink enough water. For myself, I have settled on drinking half of my body weight, but in ounces. So say someone weighs 100 pounds, it might be useful for them to drink 50 ounces of water. That's how I figured that works for me. Your mileage may vary, but water, again, something that maybe came from a spring or came from a source that is alive, as opposed to being reused, filled with different types of chemicals to make it clean. And of course, we can't all do all of these things, but I am going to say all the things that I have found helpful over time and that help me to feel the best I can in my physical body. Also, high vibrational, clear, clean air. Many folks live in cities. Many folks live where there is a lot of pollution. Many folks are inhaling smoke from fires caused by being in a place that has wildfires. Many folks are inhaling agricultural toxins in the Midwest, and that blows across the country. So unfortunately, we have less and less opportunity to control the air that we are breathing, but as much as you can, recognize that that is something that affects your physical body. You know, in this episode, we're talking about bad out, good in. So this is a huge part of how our physical bodies are able to remain alive, is oxygen. So it's also something that I wanted to mention and think about. Of course, sleep is something that is very highly important when it comes to having good physical health. I have always been a huge advocate of sleep. I think I've probably mentioned this on the podcast, but maybe I haven't. And here's a story for you. My favorite, maybe not favorite, it was the best class I ever took in college, and it was certainly the most impactful on my life. And I was lucky enough to be able to take this in my first semester, my freshman year. It was a Psych 101 class called Intro to Sleep. And the professor was a famous sleep researcher, and her homework for us was to sleep 8.4 hours a night. And of course, this is there must have been 200 people in this class. And of course, not everybody did the homework, but I took it seriously. And I'm really glad that I did. I did not even realize that I had a sleep issue until I took this class and actually took the homework seriously. When I started putting in time to sleep 8.4 hours a night, and that is the exact time that she determined that our age group needed to perform optimally during the day, which is 8 hours and 24 minutes, in case you were wondering. When I started to do this consistently, my entire life changed. I didn't even realize that I would be falling asleep reading my homework, reading books that I needed to do my schoolwork. I didn't realize that I didn't have as much energy as I could. These are things that you don't really notice until you do something profound like this, and then you notice that your life changes. So my life changed so profoundly that I took that tenet and I ran with it for the rest of my life up until now. It is very important for me, and I still aim for 8.4 hours, even though I might be reaching the age bracket where you need slightly less sleep than that. But I am exceedingly grateful for the universe for arranging for me to take that class, because it happened in part because, I have a very interesting college story that involved needing to leave my primary school as a freshman because of a hurricane and going to a different school for the first semester. So all of the things, maybe I'll tell that story sometime. It's quite a story if you haven't heard it yet. All things that helped to make me who I am. And I'm super grateful for those experiences, especially taking this Sleep 101 course or Intro to Sleep course. So sleep is more fundamentally important to our physical body's health and vitality than I think most people take seriously. Most people do not take sleep seriously. It's almost always the first thing to go out of all the things that I'm talking about: food, water, air, sleep. All of these are really, really important. And we've heard them all over and over and over again, so much so that we might be numb to hearing this stuff. But I felt compelled and guided to do this little series of cleansing your body, mind, and spirit. And all of this needs to be said. And somebody out there is hearing this like, you know what, I'm going to try that. And it might just change your life. And I hope that it does change your life for the better. What else did I have on here? I already talked about dead food, sugar, fats. Let me tell you another word about sugar. Yes, it tastes good. Yes, it's shoved down our throats in almost every situation we can imagine. Every liquid has sugar in it pretty much now. It's not good for us. Try going a week without, don't even try. Go a week without any kind of sugar and see how you feel. I've done this recently. It's incredible. It's really hard to stay off of sugar because they're putting it in everything. Like things that don't even need to have sugar have so much sugar in it that you wouldn't even know what it tastes like in its original natural form because you're so used to it with sugar. And I'm not saying that I'm a saint at this. It's really difficult to live and eat with no sugar, but try it for a week and let me know how you feel. I did this recently, and even after 4 days of not having sugar, I accidentally had something that had sugar in it, just a little sip of something, and I could feel my heart beating so fast within 2 minutes of me ingesting one sip of something that had sugar in it. It was incredible. It really was. And that was only 4 days of not having sugar and having just a little sip. It just showed me how used to sugar my body was. I'll only speak for my body, but you might surprise yourself to start to at least pay attention to, become aware of how much sugar you are ingesting and things that you wouldn't even think have sugar. It's kind of nuts. And we're talking about all of this so that we can have the most successful, vibrant, elevated, blissful, happy experiences in these human physical bodies, in these vessels that are carrying us through this lifetime. We only have this body for this incarnation, and these are tried and true ways of cleansing it. Now let's see if there's something else. I don't really think I need to go into drugs, alcohol, smoking. Anyone who's listening to this knows the dangers of those. You can go ahead and re-listen to my episode on the true effect of drugs and alcohol and plants. I did last year at some point if you need to, but I don't feel like I need to go into all of that. Another thing I wanted to mention on this topic is intimate relationships, romantic, sexual, intimate relationships. If you're doing things like this with your physical body, you want to do those things with somebody who is healthy, right? If you are doing anything intimate that involves your body, you want to make sure that whoever you're doing those things with is healthy and clean. And not just physically, hopefully also mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Just like you don't want them to have some kind of physical disease or infection that they could pass on to your physical body, you also don't want them to have negative thought forms or negative influences or, dare I say, entities or Klingons or demons on them. And that we'll get more into in the how to cleanse your mind, how to cleanse your spirit episodes that will come out after this one. But this is something to think about. And it's not like anyone's talking about this when folks are growing up. There's so many things that we could talk about to train our children to be excellent, blissful human beings that we don't. But one of them is, sharing space with people. And sharing space with people intimately could actually affect your physical body. So I didn't want to leave that out. Please be aware of that. And choose wisely. Your body is your temple. As cliche as that sounds, it is the temple in which your soul resides. It's the only temple your soul will reside in this incarnation. Sure, it's been in other temples, and I'm sure if you continue down your evolutionary path, there will be more temples in the future. But this is the temple now. So treat it right. And with that, I'm going to leave it there for today. This has been How to Cleanse Your Body. Please join me for the bonus content clearing on clearing anything that we are allowed to clear that might be preventing you from having the most healthy, clear, clean, happy, blissful body that you can in this incarnation. You can find the bonus content by going to patreon.com/letsgetmeta. You can become an angel donor at any level and have access to all of my bonus content. And you can leave at any time. Come for a month, get this bonus content, and then leave. You can do that. That's great. I want you all to have happy, healthy, blissful physical bodies. And next time we will talk about how to cleanse your mind. Oh, and by the way, this entire episode in the background, I have been playing a process called health repair. And I have asked and intended that that process be applied to you. So hopefully you will feel some good, positive outcomes from that process having been played in the background of this. It will not do you any harm, that I can promise. And I will leave the episode there for now. Thank you for joining. Your body is your temple. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up and Awaken production and is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. If you are ready to raise your vibration, you might enjoy our free Let's Get Meta Master Clearing. To receive the Master Clearing or to learn more about the podcast, visit letsgetmeta.com. We like to share metaphysical stories and answer spiritual questions on the podcast. If you have a metaphysical experience you would like to share or have a spiritual question you would like to have answered, please send an email to info@letsgetmeta.com. The Let's Get Meta podcast is inspired by angels and supported by angels. If you would like to be an angel donor to the podcast, visit patreon.com/letsgetmeta. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.